Welcome to Copilot Studio Agent Academy. This is Mission 7, Add New Topic with Trigger and Nodes. My name is Elaiza Benitez, and I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft. In this mission today, we're going to learn what topics are and their role in creating structured conversations for agents. We'll also learn about the anatomy of a topic and use power effects in the conversation nodes. Lastly, we'll dive into adding a topic to our custom agent. Let's get started. So what is a topic? In Copilot Studio, a topic is like a guided conversation that helps your agent respond accurately to specific questions or tasks. Think of each topic as a mini conversation designed for a particular purpose, whether that's answering informational questions like, what is our vacation policy? Or helping users complete tasks like, I want to request time off, or solving problems like, my computer won't start. Topics can handle both simple one-question scenarios and multi-turn conversations that guide users through entire processes step by step. For example, you could have a vacation leave request topic to guide users through this process. Let's next learn about why they're useful. Topics are the backbone of organized, effective agent conversations because, well, they help structure your agent's knowledge in a way that feels natural to users. Instead of having one giant conversation flow, topics help you create clear, goal-oriented conversations that quickly address specific user needs. This structure allows your agent to deliver consistent and dependable answers while still being flexible enough to manage multiple conversation types at the same time. Now, every topic has two essential components that work together to create meaningful conversations with users. First, you have what we call trigger phrases. These are the words or sentences users might say to activate a specific topic, like, I need a laptop, or how do I request vacation time? Secondly, you have conversation nodes, which are the building blocks that define what happens after a topic is triggered. These include sending messages, asking questions, adding conditions for decision making, managing variables, and adding tools for extending its capabilities. Let's learn about power effects next. Power effects is the low-code programming language that adds intelligence and dynamic behavior to your agent topics. It uses the same Excel-like syntax that some of you already know from Power Apps. With Power Effects, you can set and manipulate variables, create conditional logic, and format data. For example, you could use an expression that checks the value of a score to determine whether it's a pass or a fail to create branching conversations. The beauty of Power Effects is that it's flexible enough for complex logic, yet familiar enough for business users, making it possible to personalize conversations and validate input without the traditional coding. So how do you design topics? Well, here's a guide that you can follow. This process starts with understanding what your users actually need and ends with thorough testing and iteration. Start by identifying common questions and tasks, then group them into categories such as informational, task-based, or troubleshooting. From there, map out short, focused conversation flows to guide users efficiently. The key is to design for both quick, one-off answers and longer guided conversations while using generative AI to handle unexpected questions that fall outside your predefined topics. In this lab today, we're going to add a topic that responds to users about available devices. We'll define its trigger inputs and outputs and add a tool to our topic using the SharePoint connector with a power effects expression to filter the data retrieved. The end result is a topic that can query a SharePoint list to answer user questions about available devices. Now, before we begin, make sure you've already completed the earlier missions. You'll need a dedicated development environment, and you'll also need access to the SharePoint site that we created during the course setup mission. Let's begin. First, we need to access the Topics section of our agent. Look for the Topics tab near your agent's name. Now, if you don't see it immediately, select this numbered tab to reveal additional tabs, and you'll find topics listed in there. This is the topics library with custom and system topics that were automatically created when your agent was provisioned. To create a new topic, select Add a Topic and select from blank. Now we'll give our topic a clear descriptive name that reflects its purpose. We need to provide a comprehensive description that explains what this topic does and when it should be triggered. Copy and paste this description from the lab exercise. This description is crucial because it helps the AI orchestrator understand when to invoke this topic during conversations. Next, let's configure the data flow to define what information comes into our topic and what goes out. Select the More Ellipses button in your topic. Then select Details to open the Topic Details pane. Let's start by setting up what data our topic needs to receive. In the Topic Details pane, select the Input tab. Then select Create a New Variable. We'll name this variable var device type. This will store the type of device the user is looking for, which AI will extract from their message. Now we need to configure how this input variable behaves. The key properties we're updating are the variable data type, display name, and most importantly, the identify as property, which will set to the user's entire response. Copy and paste this description from the lab exercise. This description helps the AI understand what types of values to expect and extract from our conversations. Next, let's define what our topic will return. Switch to the Output tab and create a new variable called var available devices. Set the variable data type to table, since we'll be returning a list of devices, and add this description, which you can copy and paste from the exercise lab. This output variable will contain all the device information we retrieve from SharePoint. Select the X icon to exit the Topic Details pane. Let's add a new node that will retrieve our device data. Select the plus icon below the trigger, then select Add a Tool, and navigate to the Connector tab. Search for Get Items and select the Get Items SharePoint Connector action. This will be our gateway to the SharePoint devices list. Now I already have a SharePoint connection set up. In the scenario where you don't have a SharePoint connection, you'll need to create a new connection. Select the chevron icon and select Create New Connection. Choose Connect Directly, which is already selected by default. Then select Create. Select your signed-in user account and select Allow Access to confirm the connection permissions, then select Submit to add the connector to your topic. Let's next configure our SharePoint connector. Select the ellipsis icon and select Properties. In the Initiation tab, add a usage description, which can be copied and pasted from the lab exercise. This description helps you manage connections later. Then switch to the Inputs tab and select your Contoso IT site and the devices list we set up earlier. Here's where we make our connector intelligent by adding filtering logic. We only want to show available devices that match the user's request. Select the ellipsis icon next to the Filter Query field. Switch to the Formula tab and expand the Formula field. Enter this Power FX expression from the exercise lab. This filters for devices that are available and matches the device type the user requested. Switch to the Outputs tab and rename the Get Items variable to var devices. In the Usage section, select Global to make this variable accessible across all topics, then close the Variable Properties pane. We need to link our connector output to our topic's output variable next. Add a new node by selecting the plus icon, then select Variable Management, followed by Set a Variable Value. For the set variable parameter, choose our topic output var available devices. For the value, we'll use another PowerFX expression to set it as the value property from our getItems response with global scope. Select Insert and save the topic. Lastly, our agent needs to know when and how to use this new topic. Go to the Overview tab and under Instructions, select Edit. Add this instruction, which you can copy and paste from the lab exercise. Highlight the topic placeholder and type /, and you'll see a list of the topics that can be referenced. Select the Available Devices topic, and then save the updated instructions. We'll now test our topic. Select Test in the upper right, refresh the test pane, and enter I need a laptop. When prompted, select Allow to authorize the connection. The agent will execute our SharePoint tool, filtering for laptops with the available status, and return a formatted response. Finally, explore connection management by selecting the ellipsis and selecting Manage Connection to see how all your agent's connections are organized. Notice how the usage description we added earlier helps identify each connection's purpose. Now your topic is ready to use. With this setup, the agent can quickly find and share device information based on what the user asks for. Mission accomplished. You've learned how to create a new topic from scratch, integrate a tool that uses the Get Items action from the SharePoint connector, and apply PowerFX to filter the results. And that wraps up Mission 7 of the Copilot Studio Agent Academy. So keep experimenting, keep building, and as always, keep learning. We'll see you in the next mission of the Agent Academy.